Ethan stood in the vast, minimalist living room. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows. He held out the ultrasound picture with a trembling hand. Julian did not even glance at it. He simply took the paper and tore it to pieces. His face was a mask of cold fury. Julian warned him that a child would never win his affection. Ethan's eyes fell to the scattered fragments on the floor. He slowly nodded. Among the torn pieces was another document. It was a terminal diagnosis for stomach cancer. Julian was furious about the pregnancy news. He had shattered a glass in his hand. Shards dug deep into his palm. He demanded to know if it was from the accident. Ethan, unable to speak, could only nod in panic. The child was from 3 months ago. Julian's grandfather had orchestrated the situation. He locked them in a bedroom during Julian's heat. Ethan pounded on the door, but no one came. Julian had some self-control remaining. He warned Ethan not to move. He leaned against a wall, fighting his instincts. The night was agonizingly long. Julian, a top-tier alpha, managed to restrain himself initially. But Ethan was a weaker omega. The room was thick with Julian's powerful pheromones. Ethan's own scent, orange blossom, began to fill the air. He could not control it. After midnight, Julian's control finally broke. The omega pheromones drove him past reason. He was like a predator lunging forward. He roughly bit the back of Ethan's neck. His pheromones flooded Ethan's system. Tears streamed down Ethan's face from the pain. He tried to pull away. Julian held him in an iron grip. The alpha, lost in his heat, forgot his own vows. He forgot that he despised Ethan. He forgot his promise to stay faithful to his first love. For 3 days, Ethan drifted in and out of consciousness. His body was covered in bruises when it was over. He had felt nauseous for the 3 months that followed. This morning, he had gone to the hospital with a friend. Ethan had always been frail. Fevers and sickness were common for him. He had not thought much of his recent nausea. His friend insisted on a checkup. The results were shocking. Pregnancy and early-stage cancer. The nausea was from both the baby and the disease. The doctor gravely suggested terminating the pregnancy for treatment. Just then, Julian called. He ordered Ethan to come home. Julian had been avoiding him for 3 months. His grandfather was visiting that afternoon, so Julian had to return from his trip abroad. He took the ultrasound picture with a dark expression. He tore it apart without a second look. The cancer diagnosis was destroyed along with it. Ethan raised a hand, wanting to sign about his illness. Julian roughly grabbed his wrist. He told Ethan to stop playing the victim. Julian's voice was ice. He warned that a child would not change anything. Ethan should not imagine he could replace his true love. Julian asked if he understood. Ethan looked at the confetti of paper on the expensive rug. He finally gave up the idea of explaining. He nodded. It was true. He had indirectly separated them. He had forced Julian to marry him. Before their marriage, Julian had a perfect match. His name was Leo, a top-tier omega. They had met in college and were together for 3 years. They were about to get engaged. But then, Julian's grandfather found Ethan. He brought him into the family home. Ethan was the orphan of a man who had saved the grandfather. The old man made an offer. Whoever married Ethan would inherit Lockhart Industries. The family's alphas all tried to win Ethan's favor. All except Julian. He was raised as the heir apparent. He was too proud to abandon his lover for power. Ethan did not know the details at the time. He only knew Julian had saved him from a fire once. A scar on Julian's right arm was a permanent reminder. Ethan had remembered that scar for over 7 years. The grandfather set up a test to gauge their sincerity. He staged a dangerous situation. He wanted to see who would risk their life for Ethan. Among all the alphas in that remote place, only Julian acted. He had been forced to attend. But he was the one who defended Ethan. Using this, Ethan chose him. The wedding was arranged while Julian was unconscious. News of the Lockhart heirs' marriage spread quickly. By the time Julian woke, it was too late. Canceling would create a massive public scandal for Ethan. The grandfather used Julian's compassion to force the marriage. That evening, the grandfather came to visit. He found the torn pieces of the ultrasound. He was overjoyed. He immediately had his secretary draft a stock transfer agreement. He gave all his personal shares to the unborn child. The old man's happiness was radiant. Ethan lowered his hand again, the unspoken truth dying on his lips. His grandfather had always wanted a great-grandchild. Julian had always wanted the company and his lover. Ethan could make it all happen by giving up his treatment. He stopped struggling. After the grandfather left, Julian's smile vanished. He grabbed Ethan's face. He warned him not to dream of a happy future. The child would never be his leverage in the Lockhart family. He told Ethan to remember his place. Ethan's jaw ached from the pressure. He stared into Julian's angry face for a long time. Then he forced a smile and signed. He promised he wouldn't be a problem anymore. The next day, Julian flew abroad again. Everyone except the grandfather knew the truth. He was looking for Leo. Leo had vanished after hearing of Julian's engagement. He had been gone for 2 years. Julian had been searching for him for 2 years. Ethan went to his prenatal appointments alone. On the way, he ran into the doctor from before. The doctor frowned at his pregnancy report. He asked Ethan if he was giving up treatment. Ethan was surprised the doctor remembered him. He signed, asking how he knew his name. Dr. Alex Chun could understand sign language. He sighed, explaining they were high school classmates. Ethan was stunned. In high school, he had been the poorest student. He always tried to be invisible. He didn't know anyone except Julian, who approached him first. Alex led him to his office. He pulled up Ethan's file. He pleaded with him to fight the cancer. The illness was in its early stages. It was treatable if he ended the pregnancy. Ethan shook his head with a sad smile. He thanked Alex, but his decision was firm. Alex's expression turned grim. He asked if his alpha husband was forcing him. Ethan quickly signed no. He wanted to keep this child himself. He felt he owed Julian for his life. Alex said no more that day. But every time Ethan came to the hospital, Alex would urge him to start chemo. Ethan always refused. His health worsened from using synthetic alpha pheromones. He eventually collapsed and was hospitalized. Alex was truly angry this time. He held Ethan's shoulders. He told Ethan his life was long. He shouldn't waste it on an alpha who didn't deserve him. Ethan knew he was just being a compassionate doctor. He signed an apology. But Alex's face remained dark. A faint, soothing pheromone filled the air. It was the scent of a top-tier alpha. Alex's scent eased Ethan's discomfort. Alex then said he could give Ethan what Julian couldn't. He raised a hand to the back of Ethan's neck. He asked Ethan to just look at him once. Ethan suddenly snapped back to reality. He tried to pull away. Another, more potent scent invaded the room. It was the sharp smell of pine, Julian's scent. The hospital room door slammed open. Julian stood there, fists clenched. He demanded to know who Alex was to judge him. He ordered Ethan to come home with him. Julian nearly fought with Alex. Ethan had hurt his leg when he fainted. He couldn't get out of bed to intervene. He finally had to drag his weak body off the bed. He threw himself between them. He stopped the punch Julian aimed at Alex's face. Julian stopped, his expression conflicted. He slammed his fist into a wooden table instead. He then roughly lifted Ethan. He carried him out and put him in the car. The ride home was silent and tense. As soon as they arrived, Ethan felt sick. He vomited in the bathroom until he was dizzy. His vision blurred. He saw a splash of red in the toilet bowl. Julian entered. Ethan quickly flushed away the blood. Julian's face was like a thundercloud. Yet, he handed Ethan a glass of warm water. He stated he would stay home to care for him now. He would provide the necessary pheromones. A private doctor would be hired. Ethan was forbidden from seeing that other alpha doctor again. Ethan looked up, his heart skipping a beat. Julian quickly added it was the grandfather's command. The old man was using the company to force him. Ethan smiled faintly. He knew it couldn't be anything else. He signed his thanks and took the water. As he rinsed his mouth, he thought Julian had left. He was massaging his swollen ankle. Suddenly, a pair of strong arms lifted him. Julian carried him to the bed. He knelt beside the bed to apply ointment. He said it was for the baby. Ethan shouldn't get any ideas. Perhaps the baby was truly that important. Julian stopped speaking harshly to him. He even moved his work home to supervise Ethan's care. Their relationship softened. Alex called several times. Julian always answered and hung up immediately. The grandfather's pressure kept Julian by his side constantly. One day, Julian was feeding him soup. Ethan choked and coughed violently. A warm hand rested on his neck. Soothing pheromones filled the air. Julian told him to eat after he finished coughing. Ethan swallowed the metallic taste of blood. The temporary bond they shared made his glands itch. The baby in his belly also craved its father's scent. Ethan found himself unable to resist. He quietly accepted the childish act of being fed. For a week, he was under Julian's constant care. This included providing pheromones through kisses on his glands. He knew it was for the child. But Leo didn't know that. He had been gone for 2 years. He chose that moment to burst into the house. He saw the intimate scene. His pupils constricted. Tears welled in his eyes. He stammered Julian's name, asking if they really had a child. Julian's hand on Ethan's neck tightened suddenly. The butler ran in, out of breath. He apologized, saying he couldn't stop Leo. Leo turned and fled. Seeing his first love after 2 years stunned Julian. He pushed Ethan away and ran after Leo. He didn't even grab a coat. It was freezing outside. The chaotic pheromones in the air made Ethan nauseous. No one expected Leo to return at this time. That night, Ethan was sick for a long time. The pain in his stomach was unbearable. He couldn't take painkillers because of the pregnancy. His face was as white as a sheet. The butler was terrified. He tried calling Julian repeatedly, but there was no answer. Ethan feebly shook his head, signaling it was fine. He thought he could endure the pain. He overestimated himself. He fainted. When he woke up, he was in a hospital room. The butler was talking with Alex. Seeing Ethan awake, the butler expressed his relief. He said it was lucky Alex knew Ethan's condition. Alex had rushed over with medical supplies. The butler worked for the grandfather. He was sent downstairs by Alex to get medication. Ethan frantically signed to Alex. He asked if he had told the butler about his illness. Alex frowned, his usual calm face showing annoyance. He asked Ethan why he still cared about Julian's opinion. Ethan looked down and nodded. He was sorry. He didn't want him to know. Alex, seeing his resolve, gave in. He promised not to tell them without Ethan's consent. Ethan thanked him. As he tried to leave, Alex grabbed his arm. He asked Ethan to divorce Julian. He offered to take care of him and help him get treatment. He confessed he had waited for Ethan for many years. Ethan's memories of high school were hazy. The clearest memory was of Julian. Julian sent to the countryside by his family. Julian following him around everywhere. Back then, Julian wasn't so cold. It was Ethan who was distant. After his parents died, he became withdrawn and sensitive. He was used to silence and being called a freak. But Julian, his new roommate, was different. He fought off bullies. He shared his food with Ethan. He was a chatterbox. He spent a year trying to get Ethan to speak. When Ethan finally said thank you, Julian was shocked. After that, he was always trying to make Ethan talk. For a while, Ethan felt like a normal person. But his happiness was short-lived. A fire broke out where he worked part-time. Julian had rushed in to save him. A heavy beam fell on Julian. The smoke damaged Ethan's vocal cords permanently. When Ethan woke up in the hospital, Julian was gone. The Lockhart family had taken him overseas for treatment. Ethan spent all his money trying to find him, with no success. Years later, his grandfather brought him to a family banquet. He told Ethan to choose an alpha. He saw Julian again after 7 years. His wine glass shattered on the floor. Julian just gave him a cool, indifferent look. He seemed to have no memory of him at all. Ethan signed an apology to Alex. He explained that he really couldn't remember him. Alex gave a self-deprecating laugh. He said it made sense. Ethan had been so lost back then. He wouldn't have noticed anyone else. He didn't mention the past again. He couldn't stop Ethan from leaving the hospital. Ethan didn't dislike Alex. He just hated the smell of disinfectant. It reminded him of the car crash at age 5 and the fire at 17. When he got home, Julian's Bugatti was in the driveway. Leo got out of the car with him. He looked at Ethan with teary eyes. Julian stood in front of him. He explained Leo was back and would stay for a while. Ethan nodded and turned to leave. Julian grabbed his arm. He asked if his illness was another trick. In Ethan's hand were the test results and medicine from Alex. Alex had given them to him as a... Ethan couldn't sign to explain. Julian's face darkened. He sneered. He told Ethan not to play such boring games again. Ethan turned his face away and nodded. Later, Julian kept his distance again. Ethan had to use synthetic pheromones. His condition worsened. The pain would wake him every morning. Combined with morning sickness, it was hell. At these times, Leo would emerge from his guest room. He would stare at Ethan's belly with tear-filled eyes. When Julian heard the noise, he would block Leo's view. He would shut the bathroom door. Ethan wiped the blood from his mouth and smiled. It was a good thing Leo didn't see the blood. On the 3rd day of Leo's stay, Julian had an emergency at work. He couldn't take Leo with him. The other staff had been dismissed. He had no choice but to warn Ethan. He told him to stay away from Leo. He said Leo wouldn't cross any lines before the baby was born. Julian was still wary of Ethan faking an illness. Ethan earnestly signed his reassurance. He promised he didn't dislike Leo. He knew he was the one who had broken them up. Julian seemed half convinced. At the door, he suddenly hugged Ethan. He gave him some of his calming pine scent. The pheromones eased Ethan's discomfort. When he turned around, Leo was standing on the staircase. His gentle demeanor was gone. He was watching Ethan with folded arms and a cold look. Less than half an hour after Julian left, he sped back. He burst through the door to a scene of chaos. There was blood on the floor. Ethan looked up, his expression dazed. He met Julian's shocked gaze. Julian quickly realized Ethan was not the one who was hurt. He rushed past him to the other side of the stairs. He found Leo unconscious. He scooped him up and rushed to the hospital. Ethan followed in a taxi. He arrived out of breath. Julian immediately grabbed him by the throat. Veins bulged on his arms. His eyes were wide with fury. He snarled at Ethan, shocked by his viciousness. Ethan was still in shock from seeing Leo fall. Tears streamed down his face as he shook his head. He signed frantically. It wasn't him. After Julian left, Leo had taunted him from the top of the stairs. Ethan had ignored him, but Leo had called him over. Then he deliberately threw himself down the stairs. A person's mind is a mess in extreme panic. Julian couldn't understand Ethan's frantic, chaotic signs. His grip only tightened. Just as Ethan was about to lose consciousness, another hand pulled him away. The rush of air made him cough and stumble. Alex held him steady. He then punched Julian hard. Julian, already enraged, fought back. He yelled that Alex had no right to interfere. He declared Ethan was his omega. Alex laughed coldly. He asked if Julian even knew him after 2 years of marriage. If he truly knew him, he would never think he could hurt someone. He called Julian a fool. He was about to reveal Ethan's illness. There was a sudden thud. Julian caught Ethan as he fainted. He looked lost. He asked what was wrong with him. Just then, the operating room doors opened. A surgeon asked for the patient's family. Alex tried to take Ethan from Julian. Julian refused to let go. Alex mocked him. He told him to worry about his true love. He then pulled Ethan into his own arms. Ethan woke up a week later. During that week, Julian had stayed by Leo's side. He had no idea Ethan's illness had become terminal. After a checkup, Ethan asked Alex to keep his secret. Alex nodded, his eyes red. He prescribed some mild painkillers. He apologized for withholding them before. He had hoped the pain would change Ethan's mind about treatment. Now, he would only act as a doctor respecting his patient's choice. After Alex left, Ethan asked a nurse for Leo's room number. He wanted to explain what happened. But before he could enter, he heard crashing sounds. Leo was crying hysterically. He claimed he would never risk his career to frame someone. He pleaded for Julian to believe him. He insisted Ethan pushed him. The fruit basket in Ethan's hand fell to the floor. Julian heard the noise and opened the door. His face was grim. Leo screamed for Ethan to get out. Ethan tried to sign an explanation. Julian roughly grabbed his wrist. He said it no longer mattered who was right or wrong. His voice was laced with venom. He accused Ethan of ruining Leo's life for a second time. Julian didn't investigate further. There were no cameras, no witnesses. He calmed Leo down. For the sake of the baby, he dropped the matter. But after being discharged, Leo, now in a wheelchair, did not. When Julian was out, Leo would order Ethan around. He made him pour boiling water, which spilled on Ethan's arm. He made him tie his shoes, then stepped on his shoulder. He wanted to see the garden, then pushed Ethan into the fountain. The icy water made Ethan shiver uncontrollably. After he got out, Ethan finally had enough. He wrote down what he wanted to say. He would not bother Julian anymore. He went to find Leo. He was gone. He heard splashing from the basement pool. When he got there, Julian was pulling a shivering Leo from the deep end. Leo cried and blamed Ethan again. Julian settled him, then walked toward Ethan. His dark gaze fell on the paper in Ethan's hand. It read, "After the baby is born, I will leave him." Ethan thought the words would prove his innocence. He held the paper out, but Julian did not look pleased. His face grew even darker, almost terrifying. He gritted his teeth. He asked Ethan if he really meant he would leave. Ethan nodded vigorously. He signed that he would leave the child with him. He would disappear completely. With a sharp, tearing sound, Julian ripped the paper to shreds. He stormed out of the pool area, ignoring Leo. That night, Ethan developed a high fever. The cold from the fountain had triggered complications. He woke up in severe pain. He couldn't find his painkillers. He remembered Leo had taken his wet clothes. The pills were in the pocket. He dragged himself to the guest room. Leo was awake, toying with the small bottle. He emptied the pills onto the floor with a smirk. He said pregnant people shouldn't take random drugs. He claimed he was helping. Ethan, in agony, tried to pick up the pills. Leo stepped on his hand. The door opened. Leo instantly pulled his foot back. He told Julian that Ethan was trying to take abortion pills. He cried that Ethan would never let Julian go. Julian believed him. He said with a cold laugh that he should have expected it. Ethan had used tricks to marry him. He wouldn't leave so easily. Ethan couldn't hear the rest. The taste of blood filled his mouth. He vomited on the floor in front of Julian. He woke to the smell of disinfectant. A hand gently smoothed his furrowed brow. The familiar scent of pine was in the air. Julian told him he could have just asked for pheromones. Ethan felt a wave of relief. He still didn't know the truth. When Alex came to check on him, his eyes were red. Ethan knew he didn't have much time left. He was tired of the endless accusations. When Alex and Julian argued over him, he made his choice. He signed that he wanted to go with Alex. He no longer wanted to return to the Lockhart house. Julian was stunned. Ethan repeated his sign. For 2 years, he had tried to be a good Omega spouse. Julian had seen it as an act. But Ethan's feelings had been real. Now his heart was finally empty. Julian, abandoned for the first time, left in a rage. After a few days, Ethan left the hospital. He didn't go with Alex. He was a dying man. He didn't want to be a burden. He rented a small apartment nearby. It was quiet and peaceful. But Julian started contacting him constantly. He sent messages every day asking about the baby. He even video called to check on him. Ethan sighed and told him Alex was at the hospital. He would be back later to check on him. Julian had allowed this arrangement. He knew a doctor's presence was good for the baby, but hearing it made his expression darken. He hung up. That night, he showed up at the apartment drunk. He searched every room. Ethan told him Alex was still at work. Julian stumbled and fell against him on the sofa. He apologized for being drunk. He buried his face in Ethan's neck. He kissed the glands there. Ethan tried to push him away. Julian held his hands and kissed his lips. The air filled with a pleading pine scent. It was the first time they had ever kissed like this. During their forced encounter, he had never kissed him. He really was drunk. When Ethan finally broke free, Julian seemed upset. He demanded to know who Alex really was. He asked what their past was. He was jealous of how well Alex seemed to know Ethan. Ethan was taken aback. He asked if Julian didn't recognize him. In high school, Julian knew everyone. But Julian sneered. He said he shouldn't have to know him. He called Alex a homewrecker. Ethan was completely stunned. He asked if Julian really didn't remember. Ethan had thought Julian regretted saving him. He thought that was why he pretended not to know him. But Julian shook his head. He said he had an accident at 17. He lost some of his memories from that time. Ethan didn't tell him about their shared past. It seemed too late for everything. Julian didn't understand his sadness. He pulled Ethan closer, his hand brushing against a bruise. Ethan flinched in pain. Julian suddenly pulled up his sleeve. His arm was covered in bruises and burns from Leo. A look of shock crossed Julian's face. His drunkenness seemed to vanish. He gritted his teeth and asked who did this. Ethan hesitated. Julian still didn't suspect Leo. He signed that it was an accident. Julian's eyes filled with a strange pain. He got medicine and gently applied it. Then he held Ethan and murmured his name. He seemed to want to say something more, but the words never came. The next morning, Julian woke up with his arms around Ethan. He quickly pulled away, trying to act casual. He said he knew it was for the baby. Ethan signed to interrupt him. The baby was 7 months old. It needed its father's natural pheromones. Julian's gaze softened as he looked at Ethan's belly. He quietly agreed. Weeks later, the grandfather returned. He hosted a family dinner. He didn't know Leo was back or living with them. Before they left, Julian warned Ethan not to say anything. At the dinner, the grandfather had Leo brought in, tied up. The old man had found out everything. He knew about the false accusations. He knew Leo had driven Ethan from his home. His sharp eyes darted between a gagged Leo and Julian. The room was silent. Julian finally spoke. He said it was a misunderstanding. The grandfather asked if that meant Ethan was to blame. Julian stood up abruptly. He said it had nothing to do with Ethan. He would never do such things. Then he paused, stunned by his own words. He had said it without thinking. He knew in his heart that Ethan was not malicious. He just hadn't wanted to admit Leo could be. The grandfather's anger turned to a smile. He told Julian he knew what to do next. Julian sent Leo away. He rehired the staff and brought Ethan home. As he left, Leo cried and clung to Julian. He still denied everything. He pleaded about his ruined dancing career. This time, Julian's eyes were filled with disappointment. He pushed his hand away. He told him to leave with some dignity. After sending Leo off, Julian turned to Ethan. He asked if he was satisfied now. He was finally the master of the house. No one could threaten his position. He told Ethan not to mention leaving ever again. Ethan didn't argue. He just bent over, clutching his stomach in pain. Winter was ending. With luck, he might live to see the spring flowers. Julian was subdued for a while, then threw himself into work. He also started paying more attention to Ethan. He noticed that as the pregnancy progressed, Ethan grew thinner. He put his work aside to care for him properly. His touch became gentler. At hospital visits, he kept Alex away from Ethan. They had a period of peace. Just when Ethan thought things might stay this way, he was kidnapped. Julian had asked him to dinner. He said he had something important to tell him. A meeting held him up. He sent his secretary to pick Ethan up. On the way, their car was forced off the road. Armed men took Ethan. They brought him to an abandoned auto shop. Leo was there, also tied up. A gunshot echoed. Julian was there, frozen in place. The kidnappers held a knife to Ethan's throat. They told Julian he could only pay for one of them. The other would remain a hostage. The scene was eerily similar to the grandfather's test. Then, he had chosen Ethan without hesitation. This time, Leo was kicked brutally. He spat blood but smiled weakly at Julian. He told him to save Ethan and their child. The kidnapper cut Leo's arm. Julian roared at them to stop. He had 1 minute to decide. In that minute, Leo confessed his love and regret. Julian gave Ethan one long, deep look. Ethan was in too much pain to even form words with his lips. Julian looked away. Just before the deadline, he made his choice. He told them to give him Leo. The kidnapper laughed. He called Julian a sentimental fool. He would abandon his pregnant Omega for his first love. They threw Leo at Julian. Julian grabbed him and fled without looking back. They disappeared from Ethan's sight. Julian got Leo to his bodyguard. Then he tried to go back for Ethan. His secretary stopped him, saying the police were coming. But Julian was frantic. He said every minute was another minute of danger for Ethan. He grabbed a pipe from his bodyguard and ran back. Before he got far, the auto shop exploded in flames. The fire lit up the night sky. Smoke billowed towards him. Julian froze, his mind blank. He ran toward the inferno. The heat was immense. He searched desperately, but found only ash and rubble. The familiar scene triggered a flood of lost memories. He remembered his 17th year. He remembered the quiet boy he had promised to protect. He had sworn to take care of Ethan forever. But in the past 2 years, he had done nothing but hurt him. He had chosen to believe a liar over the man he married. He knew Ethan was terrified of pain. His heart felt like it was being torn apart. Firefighters tried to pull him from the wreckage. He pushed them away. He clutched a pair of rings he had planned to give Ethan. He cried like a child. He said he wanted to die with Ethan. He was so close to telling him he had fallen in love with him again. A police officer finally yelled at him. He said his lover was outside. If he didn't get out, he would never see his child. Minutes before the kidnapping, Ethan had been on the phone with Alex. The call was cut off abruptly. Alex had a bad feeling and tracked Ethan's phone. He arrived just as the fire was starting. He pulled an unconscious Ethan from the flames. The shock sent Ethan into premature labor. After giving birth, he was moved to the ICU. He was kept alive by machines. Julian was outside arguing with Alex. He couldn't understand why a birth would be this serious. Alex, unable to bear it any longer, told him the truth. He screamed that Ethan had stomach cancer. He had refused treatment to save the baby for Julian. He was dying. Julian stood frozen, shaking his head in denial. Alex told him about the day he vomited blood. He explained that Ethan wanted Julian to be happy with the person he loved. He had wanted to give him his freedom. Later, Julian's secretary confirmed it all. He even found the torn pieces of the first ultrasound. The cancer diagnosis was still among them. Julian's heart shattered. He learned that Leo had planned the kidnapping for money. Julian had him taken to a private basement. He forced a full confession out of him. Leo was sent to a psychiatric hospital, never to be seen again. Ethan's waking moments were brief. Alex brought the baby to him. The child was crying. But when he touched Ethan's face, he fell silent. Ethan was too weak to hold him. He could only manage a faint smile. Julian watched through the glass window, his eyes raw with unshed tears. He had been waiting there for 3 days. Ethan finally woke up, but Alex wouldn't let him in. Ethan shook his head when Alex asked if he wanted to see him. Alex smiled sadly. He relayed Julian's message, that he had regained his memory, that he had fallen in love again, that he was sorry. Ethan smiled weakly and shook his head again. He took off his oxygen mask with great effort. He looked at Alex and mouthed his final wishes. He would not see Julian again. His love had died long ago. That night, Alex came out of the room holding the baby. He gave the child to Julian. He told him the divorce papers were signed. They were in a drawer at home. He said Ethan wanted nothing, only that Julian live a good life. He wanted him to give their child a happy family, unlike the one he had. Julian went home and found the papers. They were covered in a thin layer of dust. He wondered how long ago Ethan had decided to let go. He signed them, but Ethan never saw him again. His ashes were given to Alex. Alex handled all the arrangements. He told Julian that his fake grief would only taint Ethan's journey. Julian never found out where Ethan was buried. The only thing Ethan left him was their child. The boy had a smile that was so much like his father's. Julian was doomed to spend his life raising him. He would live forever with his regret.